for joining us today for the AVST webinar, Migrating Voicemail to Next Generation UC Applications. I'm Ann Rude with AVST Marketing, and today we'll be helping you with your considerations as you migrate to UC. We'll show you a little bit about how you can extend the productivity of your current infrastructure while still delivering that UC feature set. And with that, I'll go ahead and introduce Dick Reddy. He is our Senior Sales Engineer here at AVST, and he'll be walking us through the presentation. Dick, go ahead.
Okay, thanks very much. And good morning or afternoon, depending on where you happen to be. Thanks for joining us today. You know, these days, voicemail is so ubiquitous, it's hard to remember when it wasn't around. And I'd bet that most attending this webinar today have multiple voicemail boxes that they have to keep up with throughout the day. And that's become something that we may not think too much about, but we've really grown to depend on. But today, you know, with the advent of unified communications applications, it's really clear that which voicemail is clear, that voicemail is clearly a business critical application. And most organizations really need more than just plain old voicemail these days. So for the next 45 minutes or so, we're going to discuss some of the real needs for a UC solution and how CallXpress from AVST can help meet those requirements for you. So, you know, it's really hard to imagine that, you know, customer-owned PBXs and voicemail systems have really only been around since the mid to late 70s. You know, voicemail really was just invented in the late 70s and early 80s. From then till now, there have been tremendous advances, taking us from systems that were very closed and proprietary to the communications platforms of today that are required to be much more open and interoperable. The transitions that we've seen, things like email, unified messaging, IP telephony, audio and video conferencing, all starting to march down the road towards the unifying of those. They have been separate silos for a very long time, but now the real thrust is to try and start unifying those. You know, we're really starting to see some very exciting strides in speech enablement, mobile applications, and communication enablement of a number of vital business processes. And we can really start seeing that we're on the very beginning edge of things like cloud-based unified communications. There are cloud-based applications out there today that are fairly robust, but cloud-based unified communications, unifying of those applications, are really just on the starting edges of that, the federation of a number of the presence engines. And also we've seen that legacy players out there of all different sizes and shapes really trying to make the attempts to expand their existing solutions to encompass the requested UC applications, as well as a broad emergence of new UC players in the marketplace. Those vendors that really have never had their foot in the voice arena, but they're now trying their hand at it. They're trying to get into that space because they see the requirements from their users, their customers, to provide those types of technologies. Many, though, are finding it pretty difficult to bridge the gap between the IT side of the world and the voice side of the world. And many are really struggling to provide true multi-vendor interoperability. You know, Gartner, as they look at unified communications, they had some comments in one of their recent papers on UC that no single manufacturer really has a total soup to nuts type solution. And that really, they recommend that the best approach today is a best of breed approach. In other words, finding products from a variety of manufacturers that are leaders in a portion of the overall unified communication space, but then also taking that next step to be very careful to evaluate those manufacturers' ability to support interoperability so that all of these things can start working together. And really, that's exactly what we provide here at AVST. CallXpress provides really the broadest and deepest feature sets currently available, addressing the needs of a specific corner of the overall UC marketplace. We're not a one-size-fits-all. We're not an all-things-to-all people. For example, we don't make telephones and PBXs or routers and switches and things. CallXpress really provides an unrivaled level of interoperability, though, to the rest of your environment. So today we're going to take a look at these aspects and hopefully demonstrate that CallXpress is the right solution for the replacement of your legacy messaging platform. So let's start with interoperability. For messaging, call processing, and mobility systems like CallXpress, there are a number of areas where interoperability is really crucial, and especially for organizations that may have diverse technologies. Starting with the telephony side of the equation, CallXpress supports integration to virtually any of the current and legacy telephony platforms out there. So if yours is an older PBX, even 8, 10 years or more old, generally costly upgrades are not required when upgrading with when integrating with CallXpress. The last thing you really want to do is have a legacy voicemail system connected to a legacy PBX, and then have a requirement to spend thousands of dollars now on that legacy PBX just to support a new UC application, when you know that you're going to be replacing that PBX with a newer unified communication technology in the next couple of years. So it makes little sense to spend tens of thousands of dollars on that legacy PBX just to support a specific UC application. And CallXpress is unique in our ability to support integration to legacy PBX platforms, generally without having to make significant changes or alterations to those platforms. For the newer systems out there, the new voice over IP systems out there, or hybrid PBX systems, CallXpress generally supports both IP and traditional TDM-based integrations. And this really allows you to deploy CallXpress into your environment in ways that will require the least amount of changes or alterations to your existing environment. So if you have one of the hybrid PBXs that has a blend of TDM-based technology and IP technology in there, it really allows you to take a look at that platform and see what's going to be the most economical way for you to deploy the solution, whether it's using a TDM-based integration, using, for example, digital stations or digital trunks, or is it an IP-based integration that would best serve not only your current goals and environment, but also your future goals. And CallXpress has the ability to provide address that type of a situation. And in addition to that, CallXpress provides simultaneous integration to multiple PBX environments, allowing for an easy coexistence or a smooth transition from an aging PBX to a new platform. As a matter of fact, we have a customer in western Pennsylvania that currently has a single CallXpress system simultaneously integrated to about 40 different PBX and key systems within their environment. So the addressing where you are today and also allowing you the smooth transition to where you want to be tomorrow from a CallXpress system is really a core competency that we offer and deliver to you. For unified messaging, in the same manner as we support your telephony environments, CallXpress provides robust integrations to virtually any email environment out there today. And not only do we provide tight integrations, we support multiple methods for deploying unified messaging, and the ability to simultaneously integrate to multiple disparate email environments. For example, say through mergers and acquisitions, you're in a place where your organization has multiple different email systems, or for an environment like higher ed where multiple email systems within the environment are the norm, having a single messaging platform that provides full unified messaging to all those disparate email systems in your enterprise can really be a tremendous way to provide the next major step towards a unified communications infrastructure without the problems of a major adjustment to the rest of your environment. Now, many organizations are now making evaluations of moving to the cloud for their email services. We see Gmail out there, Office 365, and others. CallXpress provides full unified messaging integration to Gmail and other cloud-based email environments to support such initiatives. Now, in addition, our ability to support simultaneous integrations to both your current on-premise email system and, for example, your new Gmail environment, again, provides a very smooth transition from one to the other. So a coexistence and eventually getting fully to the cloud-based environment with virtually no interruption and no costly relicensing of CallXpress. It's just a matter of programming the system and the assignment of a specific user from one email server to the other. And CallXpress really supports a broad suite of applications. Unlike many competitive solutions, the unique licensing model of CallXpress means that there's very little that's an all-or-nothing situation for the delivery of advanced user or system functionality. In addition to that, CallXpress provides a full suite of APIs that allow the integration and interaction of CallXpress's advanced functionality into other back-end business processes. So whether that is providing unique desktop applications for message management and message awareness for groups of users, to integrating maybe the administrative tasks of CallXpress into your own specific HR programs and things like that, we have the ability to develop those applications along with you and deliver really, truly customized applications and solutions to meet your specific needs. Now, the legacy replacement of voicemail, obviously the sizzle of all the new UC applications is very enticing and very appealing. We're going to talk about a number of those in a while. But it's very important that while you deliver those advanced applications, that you don't leave behind the plain voicemail and auto-attendant call processing capabilities that you've been trusting your current legacy platform for years to provide. CallXpress has been continually under development for nearly 30 years now, with no interruption or resetting of the system, no starting over of the development of the system in those 30 years, which means we really provide the broadest and deepest feature set available today. Helping your users during this transition, the alternate telephone user interfaces, really some of the most accurate representations of the message management keystrokes of many of the legacy platforms that you see there, means that the users will not have to be significantly retrained when they're migrating from your current Intuiti or Meridian Mail or Octel system to the new CallXpress system. As you transition, if you have disparate voicemail systems around your enterprise in different cities, seamlessly fitting into those with advanced networking solutions. And the licensing of CallXpress is very unique as well. Most competitive solutions that you see, the primary licensing component is the number of users, which means that you're forced to a position where you have to buy more licenses than are necessary to make sure you're accommodating and taking care of any growth that you may have in the future, or constantly coming up against mailbox limits where you have to be purchasing mailboxes every 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, things like that. You won't run into that with CallXpress. For just plain voicemail boxes, you can create as many as you want with no difference in the cost. Automated attendant call processing applications, the ability to get calls connected to where the users need to go is very powerfully delivered with CallXpress, either with a traditional DTMF interface or optionally adding a speech recognition interface, which can dramatically simplify and make the system easier to use from callers that are intimidated by going through those dial-by-name directories and multiple levels of menuing and being bound by the 12 keys of the dial pad. Speech opens that up significantly, can flatten out many of those multi-level menus that you might have, and provide a much more streamlined access through the system using just common speech commands. Very flexible way to program that. I've been in the business now for well over 20 years, and I don't believe I've ever come across a call processing application that CallXpress has not been able to address very easily and smoothly. Now, the licensing of CallXpress is very unique, as I alluded to earlier. You get to deploy unlimited voicemail and call processing. There's no licensing at all for per user licensing or per application for voicemail and call processing. But as you start looking at the more advanced applications that start feeding into mobility applications, unified messaging, find me, follow me's, other types of things, the way that the system is licensed allows you to target the licensing of the system to the specific user and application needs that you have. There's very little one-size-fits-all in CallXpress, making the system much more attractive from a licensing and deployment strategy than many competitive solutions that are out there today. So let's start taking a look at the mobility solutions. Those are the things that tend to be driving a lot of the interest today in a significant manner. And let's take a look at the ways that CallXpress can address those. Now, there's many different areas, features that and capabilities that you start thinking of when you start looking at mobility. Now, it's clear that the workforce in most organizations have become more and more mobile. Studies have shown that more than a third of the employees for most enterprises are mobile most of the time. And the vast majority of the rest of the people are mobile at some time or another. So it's becoming increasingly important to provide these users with the tools that they need to stay connected regardless of where they are and regardless of what they're doing, and to accommodate changes in their schedules throughout the day. There's a saying that we coined a couple of years ago here at AVST that work is an activity, not a location. You should be able to do what you need to do no matter where you are. And CallXpress provides a vast array of capabilities that equip these mobile users with the tools that to be accessible and productive. Things like single number reach. Sometimes there are times in the day when you're doing what you're doing is more important than the calls that interrupting it. So interactive call screening. So these and many other features, we'll talk about a number of these as we go through this, and touch on these and see how CallXpress can meet or exceed your requirements and expectations for your next generation unified communication messaging platform. So unified messaging is a key component of unified communications, allowing the full access to and management of all of your messages wherever you are and from whatever type of device is the most appropriate. So whether it's from your smartphone and you're sitting at the airport scrolling through your smartphone and being able to see and access all of your message types through your smartphone device, whether you're driving down the road and you need to be able to call in, and of course there are many legal issues and certainly significant safety issues with messing around with your telephone with that. How do you gain access to those messages? Now there's a lot of different architectures used to support this, and CallXpress provides you the ability to deploy the deployment of CallXpress to meet users' specific access requirements. So whether you're looking for a single message store where all of the voice messages are stored on the email server, for example, and that's where the messages reside, or you're looking for a dual store where the messages are separate, email messages stay on the email server, voice messages stay on the voicemail server, or whether you're looking for some level of security where users can't get direct access to the actual WAV file to make it externally accessible, maybe forward it to someone outside the organization, but still provide them with full access to all of their messages from all of those same interfaces. CallXpress provides all of those different methods of deploying unified messaging, and which method is utilized is assigned on a user-by-user basis. And that's very important, not having a one-size-fits-all, because in many organizations, particularly healthcare, for example, where communities of users, due to HIPAA requirements, you don't want to give them access to the actual WAV file of a voice message or allow them to forward that voice message external to the organization. Other people are working in areas of the organization where HIPAA requirements don't apply quite as much. So having certain groups of users that can be deployed in a secure method and other users that can be deployed in other ways of doing it can be very, very important to certain organizations. And with CallXpress, you are uniquely able to provide that level of granularity in assignment of how unified messaging is deployed. And once again, as we discussed earlier, we integrate to virtually any email environment that's out there, and not only any email environment, but multiple email environments. We were working with a university a few years ago that had more than 150 different email platforms on the campus, on their main campus. And we were the only system they were looking at the time that could support simultaneous integration and simultaneous unified messaging to all of those different email platforms in all of the different methods that we just described, whether it's the server-based single message store or dual message store or secure method. We're able to provide that regardless of what email platform a particular user may be getting their messages from. Now, although CallXpress gives you access to your voice messages from a wide variety of interfaces, there are times where actually listening to a voice message is not appropriate. Well, with phone tag, you're able to now read your voice messages, and this is an annual subscription service from our partner Ditech, and the Ditech interface is the interface from CallXpress to Ditech is a standard feature of CallXpress, though. And for each user that's assigned a Ditech license, CallXpress automatically forwards a copy of their voice message to Ditech. The transcription of that voice message is done in the Ditech servers and then sent back to the user's email address, their smartphone, whatever is appropriate for them, so that they can read the basic text of the voicemail message. And it again gives them a way in times where it's not appropriate to be listening to voice messages, a way to triage their messages and be able to possibly handle them very quickly and easily without having to actually call in and listen to the voice message or log on or download the WAV file to your smartphone. So it provides significant enhancements to your mobile users that tend to be in a variety of situations where they may need to have access to their voice messages. And Ditech's pretty unique in the delivery of this voicemail to text solution in that there are different methods of deploying Ditech. Again, it's assigned on a user-by-user basis which method is used. From Phone Tag Auto, which is a fully automated machine-based service that computers do the entire transcription and send it back to the user, to Phone Tag Live, which a human being actually listens to the entire message. Skilled, secured human resources listen to the message, which gives you a much higher level of accuracy, certainly, than an automated transcription of the message. Or for those that want the privacy of an automated transcription but would like the increased accuracy of a human transcription, Phone Tag Gold is a perfect solution, where the computer takes the first pass at doing it, and only those portions that have a low confidence level in the computer's ability to recognize what is said, those portions of the message are sent out for human transcription, and then the computer recompiles all those different pieces and parts. So a human being's not actually listening to the entire message, just small little snippets, and then putting the whole message back together and sending it on its way back to the user. So what method works best for you? Obviously, that's something that you need to decide, and will be different for each organization, and may even be a different decision for individual users within the organization. But Ditech is uniquely done. Again, it's not no one size fits all. Certain users can use Phone Tag Auto, while others use Live, and others use the Gold solution from Ditech. Hands-free, getting to your messages hands-free, getting to all these different applications hands-free. This can be a very valuable thing, especially for your users that are mobile and tend to be driving from place to place. As we discussed earlier, there are getting to be numerous laws written all over the country that preclude you from messing around with your telephone while you're driving along. So having a hands-free interface can be extremely valuable, giving you access to all of your messages, your calendar, contacts, placing and receiving telephone calls. And as we all know, it is dramatically safer to use an interface like that as opposed to be pushing buttons on your telephone as you're going. And this speech interface really starts broadening out as the application is delivered. Things like single number reach. The mobility features of CallXpress allow you to publish a single telephone number and have CallXpress find you wherever you are. So it could, at certain times of the day, the calls could be programmed to ring your desk phone, followed by your cell phone. At other times of the day, it could ring just your cell phone and bypass the ringing of your desk phone. Other days or other times of the day, maybe it rings your home telephone, followed by your business cell phone. And each user can tailor the sequence of telephones that are called based on their individual time of day of week schedule, with very easy overrides that can be put on that. So as their schedule changes and as where they can be reached changes, they can very easily get into the system and change which pattern of telephone numbers is utilized in order to direct calls to them to be reached. Now, this gets calls connected to them very well. Also, a single mailbox can be very important to the users, where today most most of your employees have multiple voicemail boxes that they need to be checking. So they have to check their voicemail box off of their PBX extension. They also may have one or multiple cell phones, and they have to check voicemail there. Maybe they've got home answering machine or home voicemail, and sometimes business communication can enter up in there. CallXpress is uniquely positioned to, when we are processing calls via the single number that we were seeing back here, we will not drop a call into your cell phone voicemail or your home answering machine. If we don't get you saying you want to take the call, we'll pull the call back and put your message into CallXpress voicemail. Most smartphones anymore today, they allow you to program a different forwarding target for ring no answer or busy and send those calls rather to CallXpress voicemail as opposed to sending them to the cell phone voicemail, meaning that you now only have one mailbox to check, which makes it much more easier for your employees to manage their messages and to be able to handle those messages and do something with them. For example, if a message ends up in your cell phone voicemail, you can't do anything else with it. It's dead. You can't forward it to your boss or you can't forward it to a coworker. But if all of your messages are coming back to a single mailbox, now you have the ability to do things with those messages that you weren't able to do before. Now, we talked about single number reach, which is great. Makes it easier for your customers. It makes it easier so that when you give out your contact information, you don't have to say, well, here's my office number and here's my business cell phone, and sometimes that battery wears out, so here's my personal cell phone, and here's my home number, because sometimes I work in my home office. You can publish that one number, and now, though, when you get a message, for example, and you're listening to a message, or you just want to place a call to a customer or to a contact that you need to speak with, as soon as you call them from your cell phone, they now have a second number. They have received your incoming ANI, which means they now have your cell phone number, which kind of defeats the purpose of single number. CallXpress helps alleviate that by allowing you to place calls from your CallXpress mailbox. So say, for example, somebody tried to call you. They hunted down to a couple different telephones that you might have been at, were never able to reach you, but they decided to leave you a message. You call in, you're listening to those messages as you're walking from one place to another or driving down the road, and you hear that message from the person. You realize it's one of your key customers, and you need to get back with them right away. Instead of trying to hang up, pick up your phone and dial the telephone number in your cell phone, which of course is dangerous as you're driving, and it now gives that customer your cell phone number. You can just simply say, while you're listening to that message, you simply say the word callback. CallXpress will place that call for you, and the ANI, the calling party ID that they will receive on their end, will be the main number for your organization, as opposed to your cell number. You can also call in and access your contacts and simply say, call Joe Smith on his mobile number, and it will place a call to Joe Smith, CallXpress making that call for you, not your cell phone making that call. So mobile number protection can be very, very beneficial, especially for those individuals that want to make sure that their cell phone number is not broadcast out, which of course gives people access to them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We also had the interactive call screening option, so whether it's through our smartphone app, which we'll talk about in a minute, or whether it's you just answer your phone and the CallXpress says you have a call from Scott Johnson. It gives you the ability to accept the call, which cuts the call directly through to you. You can reject the call, which will you hang up, CallXpress will retrieve that call and give them the option of leaving you a message, trying someone else, whatever they would need to do. You can transfer the call, which means either when you're presented with a call or while you are on the call, in the middle of the call, it allows you to redirect that call or transfer that call to somebody else within the organization. So maybe you get a call from Scott, but you know that somebody else in your organization really has the information that Scott needs. You don't have it. Instead of answering the call and telling Scott that, he needs to talk to somebody else, you can just simply initiate that transfer and let Scott immediately go directly to that other individual. Accept and record is a wonderful thing too. It allows you to not just accept the call, but especially, for example, say you're driving down the road and you know that Scott is going to be calling and he's going to be giving you some very important information that you need to get a hold of. So traditionally you would have to pull off to the side of the road and, pull out a pad and paper and try and take notes, which certainly delays you getting to where you're going. Or you'd have to tell Scott, hey, Scott, I'm driving down the road. I can't write anything down now. Can you please send it all to me in email? Instead of that, just say accept and record and allow CallXpress to stay involved in the call and record the conversation. And then later on, that recorded conversation will be placed as a new voice message in your mailbox. Then later on, you can just call into your voicemail box and transcribe all the important information that you need. Acknowledge is a wonderful feature as well. Oftentimes, if somebody's calling you, the work that you're in the middle of, you're getting ready to walk into a meeting or something like that, and you don't want to take the time, you know that if you talk to Scott, it's going to be a 5-minute conversation. So instead of accepting the call, talking to Scott, telling him you're walking into a meeting, and tell him you call him back later, and hopefully you remember to call him back later, you can just say acknowledge, which then allows you to record a message which will be delivered back to Scott on your behalf after you hang up. So you simply say acknowledge, then you say, Scott, I'm in a meeting right now and I'll call you back in 30 minutes. You hang up, that message is delivered back to Scott, and also delivered, that acknowledgement message is also delivered as a new voice message in your mailbox, so that when you get out of that meeting in 30 minutes, you'll be reminded when you check your messages that you told Scott you would call him back. It really helps you close that loop with the people that are calling you. And it also lets them know that you are acknowledging that they called. You're not just ignoring their call. You're communicating back to them without actually having to be connected to them. It's shown our customers, AVST customers, current customers, have really told us that this is one of the most powerful features that they've seen in a long time, the acknowledge feature, and really helps them to stay connected and really provide a very professional and strong image to their customers and the people trying to get a hold of them. That's part of also a new mobile app that is just now coming out with our newest release, which is scheduled to be generally available in the next couple of weeks for Android and iPhones, which really allows you to take a lot of the features we just talked about and put them on your smartphone. So whether it's access to messages, voice messages, visual call screening, as we just saw on those last couple of slides, being able to access your contacts or place telephone calls. So rather than placing a telephone call into CallXpress, you can see in the upper right corner of one of those smartphones the calls. So you can see what calls have come in, what calls you have missed. You can just push one of those calls, on the phone and tell CallXpress you want to call that number, CallXpress will place a call to you and then connect you to that number. Again, providing that cell phone number protection, so your cell phone number does not get released and get out to those that you don't necessarily need to have delivered to. Now, CallXpress has really a very broad range of customers that have grown to depend, over the last 30 years, have grown to depend on CallXpress technology and leading edge technology that we have, and really a broad spectrum of customers, well over 40,000 customers in all different vertical markets, whether it's manufacturing and enterprise customers to education, government, healthcare, really very recognizable names that really have some very great things to say about the system. For example, as you can see, City of Phoenix there, taking 20,000 calls an hour, and the system not missing a beat. The University of New Mexico was just amazed that the first full day of operation took nearly 50,000 calls and didn't miss a beat, didn't misdirect a call, didn't have any problems whatsoever. The savings that many organizations have found in overall maintenance of the system and being able to take care of the system, whether that's administrative maintenance or the reliability of the system, has shown a significant advantage to them. And other places, other customers have started to deploy the unique multi-server architecture of CallXpress, allowing a single CallXpress system to be spread, to be integrated with multiple PBXs across multiple locations. And Amerisure is a prime example of that, where they have a single the main CallXpress system is up in their Michigan headquarters, but they have offices in Charlotte and in Dallas and in Chicago and in Memphis, all over the United States, and where they have a local presence of that same single CallXpress system, a local survivable presence in that local branch that allows all call processing functions to continue, even if that branch becomes isolated from the main database server up in Michigan. A very highly scalable, highly reliable architecture that Amerisure and many, many other customers have really grown to depend on. And it's a very unique architecture, and we'd love to be able to spend some time with you as you're evaluating it, showing you the significant advantages that the architecture of CallXpress provides to you as you're looking at the replacement of your legacy messaging product, taking those next steps into the advanced unified communications world.
And as always, we thank you for your time and look forward to seeing you on a future webinar. Thanks so much.
Bye, everybody.